Hello, my name is Kenzie Backus, and I am going to be doing an IOC on the poem Morning Song by Sylvia Plath. Now, first off, I'm going to read this song, and I'm going to explain all the details I received out of this poem. Morning Song. Love set you going like a fat gold watch. The midwife slapped your foot soles, and your bald cry took its place among the elements. Our voices echo, magnifying your arrival. New statue. In a drafty museum, your nakedness shadows our safety. We stand round, blankly as walls. I'm no more your mother than the cloud that distills a mirror to reflect its own slow effacement at the wind's hand. All night, your moth breath flickers among the flat pink roses. I wake to listen. A far sea moves in my ear. One cry, and I stumble from bed, cow heavy and floral, in my Victorian nightgown. Your mouth opens, clean as a cat's. The window square whitens and swallows its dull stars. And now you try. Your handful of notes, the clear vowels rise like balloons. Now the first line of the first stanza, which is love set you going like a fat gold watch, really stuck out to me. Because when I looked at a fat gold watch, normally gold watches are very expensive. Gold watches like Rolexes or the grandfather watches or the pocket watches that your grandfather normally has. And when I think of a fat gold watch, I think of a prized possession, because Rolexes are very expensive to have. They are very expensive to pay for. Many people have fake Rolexes because they can't afford the real ones, but having a Rolex is a prized possession, especially having a real Rolex. And I compared a baby to a Rolex because they are both prized possessions. When you have a baby, that is a glorious moment. A baby can get you through the thick and the thin. A baby can get you through the tough times and the hard times and the problems in your life. A baby will be there forever with you, forever in your heart, forever in your soul. A baby will be there for you even when you get old. So when I thought of a fat gold watch, which was a prized possession, I thought of a baby. The second line of the first stanza says, the midwife slapped your foot soles, and your bald cry. I looked up the word midwife, and a midwife is someone who helps a mother give birth. And when a midwife slaps the foot soles, it is, back in the old times, when a midwife slapped the baby's foot soles or the baby's foot, that was basically making sure that the baby was living, or that the baby was alive, and that the baby was breathing, and that the baby could cry and make sure that the baby was okay. Where it says your bald cry, I thought of a baby's cry, because when a baby cries, it's the same scream over and over again. The scream doesn't get lower, the scream doesn't get higher, it's the same pitch over and over again, especially a newborn. So when I thought of your bald cry, I thought of a baby's cry. In the third line of the first stanza, which is took its place among the elements, I thought of a baby coming into the world from the mother's womb. When a baby comes into the world from a mother's womb, that is a glorious moment. That is a precious moment. Everyone stands around and is so surprised and in awe at how beautiful that baby is. But then I also thought about the first cries of a baby, because when a baby comes out of a mother's womb, the first cries instantly mean that your baby has made it into this world. That is an achievement. That is a goal. That is an honor to have a baby that is alive and breathing well and okay. And so I basically thought of the first cries when the baby comes out of the mother's womb. In the second stanza, in the first line, it says, our voices echo, magnifying your arrival, new statue. Now, there were two things that I looked at in this stanza, in this line. One was magnifying your arrival. Basically, when a mother gives birth, that is a glorious moment because a glorious creature is coming into this world. So when people are there watching the mother give birth and watching the baby come out of the womb, they think that it is the most precious thing. They think that the baby is the most precious and glorious creature that they have ever seen before. And that's exactly what it says or means when it says magnifying your arrival. People are magnifying your arrival. People are magnifying baby's arrival. People are thinking that this baby is so precious and this baby is so glorious and so beautiful. Now, the second thing is new statue. Now, when I think of statues, I think of how fragile they are. If someone drops a statue, or if someone touches a statue, or if someone knocks over a statue, then that statue will break. Best and believe. So, when a baby is pushed by a person, or when a baby is knocked down by a person, or even when a baby is touched by a person, that baby will start crying. That baby will be hurt. Babies are fragile exactly like statues. Babies are basically statues. Babies are hurt like statues break. So when I thought of new statues, I thought of babies. And when it says new statues, newborn, I put those two together. New statue, newborn. A new statue has been brought into a museum. It is new. A baby has been brought into this world. It is a newborn, new baby. Where it says, we stare round blankly as walls, in the third line of the second stanza, I thought of people just staring at the baby. People are so in awe, so much in awe. And they're thinking it's the most glorious moment that they can't even say anything, especially a mother and a father, because it is a beautiful moment to have your baby brought into this world. And for you to hear their cries and for you to hear their whimpers is just beautiful, especially when they're first coming out of the womb. So I feel that people are so much in awe that they're wordless. They don't have anything to say because they're just taking in this moment. They're experiencing this glorious moment. They're happy and proud to be there. Where it says, I'm no more your mother, in the first line in the third stanza, there's no need to elaborate on this. It basically means mother of the baby. In the third line of the third stanza, it says effacement at the wind's hand. Now, I personally didn't know the word effacement, so when I went on Google and I looked it up, it said cervix prepares for delivery. And that's exactly how I knew what this poem was going to be about. Because cervix prepares for delivery basically means that a baby is about to be delivered. A cervix is basically the womb. So when I read or when I looked up this word, I instantly knew that this poem was going to be about a baby. All night, your moth breath is the first line in the fourth stanza. When I looked up moths or moths flickering, their wings flicker. Their wings are very quiet, but their wings flicker. When their wings flicker, their wings sound staggered, like baby's breathing, or an infant's breathing, or a newborn's breathing. When babies sleep, their breath, and you can't really hear it. It's so quiet that you never think the baby is living. But honestly, the baby is living, and it's just being very quiet. Their moth breath. In the second line of the fourth stanza, it says, flickers among the flat pink roses, I wake to listen. So when it says flat pink roses, I thought of rosy cheeks. When a person is pale, you can really see the pinkness in their cheeks. And so I thought of the babies being pale as babies are pale, and the pinkness in their cheeks. I wake to listen. So I think Sylvia Plath was saying that she wakes to listen to see if the baby is still alive because of the moth breath. Going back to the moth breath, how I said the moth breath is so quiet that you can barely hear. In the third line of the fourth stanza, it says, a far sea moves in my ear. When you hear a sea, or when you think of a sea, you think of blue, which is calm and soothing. The color blue is cool colors. It's calm. It's soothing. So when I thought of a far sea moves in my ear, I thought of a calming sound in my ear. And she was referring to the infant's breathing, or she was referring to the newborn's breathing when the newborn is asleep. The first line of the fifth stanza says, one cry, and I stumbled from bed, cow heavy. When I thought of one cry, I thought of cry of a baby. When a baby wakes up in the middle of the night, the baby is usually hungry, or the baby usually wants to be put back to sleep, but can't really sleep until they have their mother. So then their mother gets up in the middle of the night and takes care of that baby. Where it says, I stumble from bed, basically that's the mother getting up, being very tired from having to wake up in the middle of the night and go take care of her baby. Cow heavy. When I saw cow heavy, I instantly thought of milk. Cows give their babies milk. The cows' babies feed off of their mother. Exactly how babies breastfeed. Babies breastfeed off of their mother. So I put two and two together, and I said cows or calves feed off of their mother. Babies feed off of their mother. In the second line of the fifth stanza, it says, in my Victorian nightgown. Now, I didn't know exactly what Victorian nightgowns look like, so I looked them up on Google, and they're very dull. They're very long and flowy, but they're very dull. And so when I thought about Sylvia Plath is very depressed. When you're depressed, you're very dull. When you're tired, you're very dull. So you don't have any energy, you don't have any emotion. And so when I saw a Victorian nightgown, I thought of being dull. In the third line of the fifth stanza, it says, your mouth opens, clean as a cat's, the window square. When I looked at your mouth opens, I instantly thought of yawning. When everyone yawns, their mouth opens wide. And when babies yawn, it looks exactly like a cat's. When cats and babies yawn, both of their eyes are closed. Their eyes are closed and their yawns are big and wide. So I put two and two together, and I thought of yawning. In the first line of the sixth stanza, it says, whitens and swallows its dull stars, and now you try. When I saw swallows its dull stars, I thought of night turning into morning. Stars go away when morning comes. You can't see stars in the morning, but you can see them at night when it's not a cloudy night, obviously. The sky blue is coming out. The blue sky is coming out. The blue in the sky is coming out. Morning has come. In the second line of the sixth stanza, it says, your handful of notes. When I noticed your handful of notes, I thought of a baby trying to speak. A baby can't clearly pronounce their words, but they try to speak. They try to pronounce their words, but not knowing any words at all, they can't. But at least they try. So when I saw your handful of notes, I instantly thought of a baby trying to speak, even though it can't. Now, in the beginning of this poem, I thought that it wasn't going to be about a baby. Before I read this poem, I thought it was going to be about morning or nature. I thought it was going to be about birds or the dew on the grass or people waking up or people driving to work or something in that nature. But as I read this poem, I found out that it is about the struggles of having a baby. Now, I paraphrased this poem and it's basically about how when the baby first comes, it is a glorious moment. But when you get in the years and the months of having a baby, it gets tiring, it gets stressful. And then when the baby finally starts to learn and starts growing up, it's a blessing. So I feel that this poem shifts from glorious moment, having the baby, to a stressful moment or tiring moment when you have to wake up in the middle of the night to feed your baby or rock your baby back to sleep or take care of your baby or change its diaper even, to a happy moment, back to a happy moment, which was the baby learning new things, the baby experiencing new things, the baby trying out new things, basically, which is how to speak. So I feel that the author's attitude is, it goes from happy to stressful back to happy, because a baby is a glorious creature. A baby will stick from beginning to end. A baby will always be there for you, no matter what. So when I went back and looked at the title, I knew automatically that this poem was going to be about a baby, a baby's taking place in this world, a baby learning new things in this world, a baby being able to be there for their mom or be there for their dad. When I thought about Sylvia Plath, I thought about her daughter that she gave birth to. Sylvia Plath actually had 2 kids, but her daughter was the first one. And Sylvia Plath was very depressed, and I feel like having a baby was a tough time because Sylvia Plath didn't know anything about having a baby at the time. Sylvia Plath didn't know how to take care of a baby at the time. Sylvia Plath was very depressed at the time, that she didn't really want to have a baby, or she didn't really know how to handle the fact of having a baby. So I feel that Sylvia Plath was at first terrified to have a baby. She was happy about having a glorious moment with the baby when the baby came out of her womb. But then as the months went by and she started having to wake up in the middle of the night, I felt that she was getting very depressed. She was more depressed than she originally was. But seeing her baby grow up and go through the world and begin to speak and learn new things, I feel like Sylvia Plath was happier than ever. This is Kenzie Backus, and I had just did an IOC on Morning Song. Thank you.